Hello and welcome to the final countdown, a special show in the lead up to the exit polls and the final verdict of the 2024 general elections. We'll be going through some important scenarios and key states that will decide on who will rule from Raisina Hill. First up, we discuss, is the 2024 general election a no-wave election? And joining me on the debate are my colleague Brijesh Pandey, Ajit K Jha and Pradeep Bhandari. Gentlemen, before we break down the key points, let's take a look at the biggest election waves in India that have handed out brute majorities to the victors. In 1971, Indira Gandhi won the elections with an impressive margin on the backs of Garibi Hatao, Desh Bachao campaign. The Congress won 352 seats. It gained 3.7% in vote share, and more importantly, it gained 69 more seats than it had won in 1967. Then in 1984, the Rajiv wave, which followed the assassination of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi, where the Congress won 62 more seats, it recorded a 414-seat landslide victory. No political party has achieved those numbers, a 5.4% increase in vote share. It was the pinnacle of the Congress's achievements in post-independence India. And then 30 years later, you have the Modi wave in 2014, the first party to record a simple majority since 1984, where the BJP won 166 more seats than it had won in 2009, a 12.6 increase in vote share. It won 282 seats on the back of the Modi wave. And then finally, you have another pro-incumbency wave in 2019, where the BJP got more seats than it had won in 2014. It won 303 seats, 21 more seats than 2014, and it recorded 6.3% increase in vote share. This is what we are talking about, India's biggest pro-incumbency waves. And we are asking this question today, are we seeing a no-wave election? Pradeep Bhandari, I want to start with you first. What explains the lack of a very clear Prime Minister Modi wave? You know, if you had asked me this question in January, indeed we've been discussing this, who was coming to power? Is there a Modi wave? Everybody would give it a 2 thumbs up. But in 2024, in May, it's 50 degrees in Delhi, and we are not sure which way the election is going. Pradeep Bhandari.
So thank you so much for having me. And as I speak, I'll speak it with data what we've been gathering with the 75 researcher team from across the country, and me myself now have traveled 15 states. I somehow humbly disagree that there is no way, because what I am seeing on the ground and what the data is reflecting, and which we cannot comment on the quantity of the data which will come on the June 1st in our exit poll, but I am seeing a complete clarity in the mind of the Indian voter to vote back Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And in fact, I can tell you that in 2019, I had seen some amount of confusion in certain red states where the opposition was fighting a decently good election. But even in those states which were Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh in 2019, where the Congress party had won, 2018 where the Congress party formed the government, you saw 90% seat for the BJP. Here, what we are missing is that we are thinking that, because the campaign is lacking a huge emotional current, there is not a larger issue which is driving it, and so there is not a wave. In fact, I can tell you for sure that the clarity in the mind of the Indian voter in 2020-24 is much more than 2019, and there is no massive anti-incumbency sentiment, and the 50% electorate, which is the women of the country, have in fact having a pro-incumbency sentiment. There are certain swing states, that is the state of Bengal, Telangana, and Odisha, where you are seeing a wave election taking place. In fact, a very big wave election, which can happen which you can see in the results on June 4th. So do not be surprised if the mandate of Narendra Modi on June 4th is bigger than what it was in 2019. And if you remember in Gujarat elections 2022, when the voting percentage had dipped by 4.5 percentage points vis-a-vis 2017, the result was a 50-seat increase. So right now, it's the voters have to choose between clarity and confusion. It's not a local candidate-based election. If it is a local candidate-based election, which I am not reading and say certain other individuals are reading, then you will see BJP falling less than 272. But I don't see that happening. I am seeing a bigger mandate than what it was in last time, and more clarity in the mind of the Indian voter, particularly the women. So for me, 2024 is a bigger wave election than 2009. But it's a silent wave.
Right. A silent wave. Pradeep Bhandari says it's a silent wave. Brijesh, what do you make of this?
Well,
a silent wave.
Silent waves only, either psephologists can see and all,
Yes.
but based on what the reporters on the ground there, and you talk to people around, because we haven't had the chance to go on the field.
Right.
But based on discussion there's no clear-cut wave. In
Right.
2019, Prime Minister for the first time shifted this Durga Puja and this in Lucknow, and
Yes.
the entire area was adorned. And he was called the post Balakot strike. He was like
Right.
the champion of as far as national interest is considered.
Yes.
The nationalism was running like anything.
Right.
Now, even if you talk off record to BJP guys, nobody's saying that that the BJP will come down to 180 or 210 or
Absolutely.
something like
Yes.
that. But if you ask them, is there any one driving force? Because
Right.
you see, if there is one narration,
Yes.
forget wave. If there's one narration which is sticking around, you can still
Yes.
wrap your head around it and say that this is either adding or deleting it. But
Right.
there's not a single narration,
Right.
and that is the reason why. I mean, just take 30 seconds more. Is like the narration of the opposition
Right.
has gained more traction and has countered into a counter narration by the Prime Minister.
Right.
Reservation is the only thing which is being talked about.
Absolutely. And, this Ajit Kumar Jha, the point that Brijesh is making is that, in 2014, we had a clear narrative. It was anti-corruption. It was, we had to vote the UPA 2 out and we had to bring Prime Minister Modi in. That was the narrative. In 2019, the narrative was national security. Pakistan, the Pakistani terrorists had attacked us, and you had Balakot, and that resulted in an upsurge for the BJP, which is why it came back on the backs of that very successful security strategy that it employed in 2019. 2024, again, if you had asked us in January, it seemed like Prime Minister Modi had everything going for him. The Pran Pratishtha of the Ram Temple, you had a successful G20 summit. India was in the chair, foreign policy was front and center, and of course you had the Prime Minister saying, "Ab ki bar 400 par," and 370 for the BJP. But in May now, the only wave that seems to be around us is a heat wave. What's your take on that?
See, what happened in 2014 and 2019, the bar of what psephologists call a critical election
Yes.
was set so high.
Right.
And as you pointed out, there was a dominant narrative
Right.
that was so powerful that each time we compare ourselves to 2019, we would only if there is a repeat of 2019, will we call
Yes.
it a hot wave.
Right.
In fact, now they use the term Thanda wave, right?
Thanda wave.
Thanda
Right.
wave. So,
Right.
so I actually agree with our pollster
Yes.
in one way that, see, what has happened is that because the turnouts in the first two phases
Yes.
went below,
Right.
let's say 2019, and usually if you look at critical elections, the one that you have pointed out,
Right.
before we started debating, 1971,
Yes.
1984, 2014, 2019, these were critical elections with very high
Right,
turnout.
right.
So because of the two first phase,
Yes.
where it was dominated by Tamil Nadu and Kerala,
Right.
the two waves, the turnout went down, although it was
Right.
revised later by the EC, but still, it was below, let's say, the height of 2019. Therefore, it appeared, number one, that
Right.
it is not a wave election.
Right.
But then you saw the turnout again picking up,
Picking
right?
up, yes.
And number two, as I think Brijesh pointed out, the agenda.
Yes.
We started with Kamandal, we
Yes.
started with Pran Pratishtha, we
Right.
started with the Modi government achievements.
Right.
But because the agenda came from the Congress side,
Yes.
Kamandal, which kind of challenged the Mandal,
Right.
and then you saw a change from, especially from April 26th, if you see Prime Minister's speeches,
Yes.
negative campaign,
Right.
basically attacking the reservation issue and saying कि वो Muslims को दे रहे हैं,
Yes.
OBC का
Yes.
quota. So therefore it appears as
Right.
if there is a serious challenge. But on the ground, my estimate is also that
Right.
there is, even if there is a Thanda wave,
Yes.
there is a wave in favor of Mr. Modi.
There's a wave in favor
Especially
of
in
Mr.
the
Modi.
north,
And yes.
and partly in the south as well. Telangana, Bengal, these states. I think there is a kind of a silent wave in favor of the BJP.
Right.
Not very visible like 2019. Our entire analysis of waves is colored by 2019 when we saw Balakot happening
Yes.
and everything looked, going in favor of BJP. But there is but people have made up their minds. You will see might be a bigger mandate
Yes.
At the end of on June
Could be a
4th.
bigger mandate than in 2019, because this is also the scenario, as Pradeep was saying, that Surjit Bhalla, we spoke with psephologist and economist Surjit Bhalla, he says he tends to agree with what Pradeep Bhandari says, that he's giving the BJP between 300 and 330 seats. But, you know, Pradeep, I have to ask you this. You're in the middle of a heat wave yourself. It looks like you're traveling somewhere. But tell us, you know, this thing of a 7-phase election, you know, spread out over 2 months, could that have been responsible for, you know, this Thanda wave, as Ajit was mentioning, that the fact that people got really exhausted at the end of it, and, you know, the enthusiasm was kind of marred a lot to the extent that, you know, people weren't turning out in large numbers, and of course you have the heat wave on. What's your take on this?
So, first of all, let us understand this. And as I speak, I'm telling you this after having traveled 400 Lok Sabha constituencies and after having traveled extensively in 2019 also. You know, the connect that a very strong leader has with the population is not a transactional connect, it's an emotional connect.
Right.
You need a very high motivation factor and pull factor to shift lead margins of the order of 3 lakh, 3.5 lakh votes, where 220 seats are won with more than 50% vote share, where there is no other leader which is decisively being declared by the opposition to feel that a wave is not happened. Please understand the analogy, like in marriage, if you enter into a relationship and initially you will see a lot of extrovert love affair and all of it, where you will see the love in the air. But as the marriage settles in, you will see more, the bond deepens, but it is not the love in the air, but the bond deepens. The bond of an emotional leader with the population is deepened. Narendra Modi is no longer a new leader. In 2014, he was tried. First, he got 272. People saw his governance, he got 303. Now, further geography, his base has increased. His base has increased in Odisha, his base has increased in Bengal, his base has increased in Tamil Nadu, his base has increased in Telangana. So, I am looking at a bigger mandate than 2019. And this is not what I am saying. I am telling you how it is happening. Say Uttar Pradesh, say Madhya Pradesh, say Chhattisgarh. Even if the BJP has speak, what is that one factor which will pull the voter away to vote for the Congress party or vote for the opposition party? That is missing. So even though inflation and unemployment are issues, they are not issues which are leading into transitioning the base of the mandate. With respect to a 7-phase election, please look at the way this election is phased in states like West Bengal, states like Bihar, because that is where the Bharatiya Janata Party was feeling the heat, and they've gone for micromanagement in these places. In fact, let me tell you, and I will end this with, if there is an anti-incumbency and not a wave election, why is it that when we are polling data, you are not seeing whether it is Akhilesh Yadav, for whom the Kannauj seat should have been a walkover, but you are seeing a situation where the margin of the victory and loss in Kannauj is less than 1.5 lakh votes. Ideally, if it is a wave in favor, if there is no wave election, Akhilesh Yadav and all the other strong leaders should be winning with a mandate of 2 lakh, 2.5 lakh, 1.5 lakh votes. So again, I am reiterating, people of the country had already made up their mind before the first post were cast that they wanted to get Narendra Modi. The quantity, if it is 300, 350, 320, 330, is the part of the campaign. Yes, the election was lacking a narrative, and this is where what the senior gentleman just before me, Brijesh ji, and so was mentioning, that the election picked up a hero-villain narrative. But in the mind of the voter, and again I'm saying the veto in the Indian politics is by the women voter. It is 50% of the electorate. Please see seats like Sant Kabir Nagar, where the women voting in the Dalit voting has increased by 3%. That's a welfare vote when we poll ahead. And women are with Narendra Modi with zero anti-incumbency sense, particularly in the rural areas. And I would not be surprised if I see a complete mandate with a bigger vote share, possibly a bigger seat share for the BJP, because it's a full factor to convert, even if there is an anti-incumbent, like Agniveer is an anti-incumbency issue, but it is not translating entire youth vote towards the Congress party. There is a split which is taking place, but the women vote is one way going to the BJP, which is subsiding the impact of certain issues which we are mentioning, with unemployment and Agniveer and inflation on the ground.
Right, absolutely. And thank you very much for that perspective, Pradeep Bhandari. And the one thing about wave elections is that you don't really know about it until election day. It's only after the results are called that you actually knew that we were in the middle of a wave or we weren't. But thank you for joining us, Pradeep Bhandari, and safe travels to wherever you're headed across the 400 constituencies that you told us that you're visiting. And Brijesh and Ajit continue to be on for the next segment, where we're going to be talking about the southern surge, where the BJP is trying to make gains into the southern bastions of the regional parties and the Congress. Now let's shift our focus to Battleground South, where the BJP is trying its best to gain an upper hand to reach the magic figure of 370 seats. The question that we're asking is Modi's mission south possible? Let's look at the party-wise position from the south. Out of the 132 seats in the south, the Congress, of course, won 29 seats. The BJP tied with it with 29 seats. The DMK, the big boy of Tamil Nadu, 24 seats. The YSRCP, not far behind with 22 seats. Other parties, 28 seats. Now, we'll be covering each of these 5 states separately, and we begin with Karnataka. In 2019, the BJP won 25 of 28 seats in Karnataka. Other parties were completely decimated. The Congress and the JDS got just 1 seat each. Now, in 2024, the interesting question in Karnataka is the battle of the guarantees. Brijesh, it's the Rahul guarantee versus the Modi guarantee. Tell us how the Lakshmi schemes, the Griha Lakshmi schemes have played out in Karnataka.
Well, I think, in Karnataka also, as we were discussing about, one other state yesterday, West Bengal.
Yes.
The local guarantee scheme seems to have worked in favor of Congress party.
Right.
And we saw the effect of it in the assembly election. And I think, more than guarantees, what is plaguing BJP is an indiscipline which we have never seen in any other state of in India. Where the BJP is caught in a kind of an imbroglio which is in any other state.
Right.
The BJP is not able to get its leadership quotient right as far as state of Karnataka is concerned. And a resurgent Congress party, has led to many to believe that, this time the election is not going to be one way as we saw it in 2019 where BJP won 25 out of 28 seats.
Right.
The Congress is very, very confident that, given the kind of undercurrent which is going on, given the kind of factionalism of which the BJP is saying that, it's Yadurappa versus rest of the party, several coteries are working at each other or having a go at each other.
Yes.
I think the Congress is a far more cohesive house as far as the state of Karnataka is concerned.
So,
with the guarantees, with the house in order, and a leadership which is not caught in that kind of do-or-die battle as the BJP is in Karnataka. 25 out of 28 seats, Ajit, in Karnataka for the BJP. I mean, that was the best showing it's ever done in any southern state. But then, a year later, 5 years later indeed, if you're looking at the Lok Sabha elections, BJP appears to be a divided house. Do you think Prime Minister Modi, who is actually the candidate in all the seats that the BJP is fighting, can he overcome this divided house in Karnataka?
See, in Lok Sabha elections, Sandeep, Prime Minister Modi's image towers over every other issue.
Right.
So in the Lok Sabha elections, I have a feeling, even if they don't repeat 2019, which is, 25 seats, but the BJP will do quite well. Despite the fact that, as Brijesh rightly pointed out, the state government has done, in many ways, it has done a wonderful job.
Right.
The 5 schemes that have come out, Anna Bhagya scheme, Griha Lakshmi scheme, Griha Jyoti scheme, Shakti Free Bus scheme, Yuva Nidhi scheme. In fact, almost 1.28 crore women voters have got that amount of rupees 2,000 into their banks.
Right.
So obviously those, like the Labharti scheme of Prime Minister Modi, those will be, Congress voters. See, Karnataka is very different southern state compared to every other southern state.
Right.
Karnataka, what has happened is, the two national parties, Congress and BJP, fight it out. The JDS, Janata Dal Secular, is almost finished. In fact, we saw in the assembly polls, as well as last time in 2019, it was an alliance with the Congress, but its performance has been declining over the years. And now this entire fiasco with the great grandson of our Prime Minister, that all that sexual escapades and stuff. So I think they are in a bad shape.
They're in a bad shape.
So it's a direct fight, like Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. Karnataka is a southern state, but in many ways the pattern of political competition is very much like a northern
like a northern state.
And I think it's basically between, I mean, there are of course lots of other communities, but it's basically Lingayat versus Vokalika. Lingayats with the BJP because of, top Lingayat leaders coming from there. And because DK Shivakumar is a great Vokalika leader, so Janata Dal Secular, which represents the Vokalikas, that vote has shifted towards the Congress. So what Brijesh is pointing out, there might be some Congress revival, but Prime Minister Modi's towering image, and also BJP's penetration in Karnataka, especially in the coastal districts,
Right.
these are completely hardcore regions of BJP.
Yes, that's
and
right.
in the past as well, this is not recent. So I think they'll still end up performing quite well. In fact, among the southern states, my own calculation is Karnataka and Telangana. That's where the BJP party will do very well.
Right. So let's go to the next state where the parties are in a triangular contest, which is Kerala, Battleground Kerala, where the Congress was the clear winner in 2019. It won 15 out of 20 seats there. The IUML won 2 seats, the CPM, RSP and Kerala Congress won just 1 seat. It was the CPM's worst performance in decades. And the BJP, of course, failed to open its account. But this time around, you're looking at the BJP aggressively pushing at least 5 constituencies where it hopes to open its account. Brijesh, what's your take? Kerala, first seat for the BJP ever?
Maybe, because there are 2 seats I think BJP has a decent chance. One
Right.
is Thiruvananthapuram, where
Rajiv Chandrasekhar.
Rajiv Chandrasekhar,
Yes.
and the reason why I'm saying this is that this is the 4th attempt by Shashi Tharoor. So when you're doing this, there's a degree of anti-incumbency which
Yes.
accompanies you. So that could be, and the other is Thrissur. It's a Suresh
Right.
Gopi's where he's fighting, and more than BJP, it is his individual standing in that
Right.
particular constituency which stands him to do good. See, it's a very strange thing that that like RSS,
Yes.
which is like the mother umbrella of the Bharatiya Janata Party. The RSS has fought most pitched battle
Yes.
with the leftist ideology there in the state of Kerala.
Yes.
But somehow it has never become a political force to reckon with. I mean,
Right.
2019, 2014, even before, we all have traveled to Kerala, documented.
at the height
kind
of the Modi
bloody,
wave,
Yeah,
yes.
at the height of Modi wave, they could not.
They couldn't break in. So
They
what
could break
do
in.
you
So-
think, Ajit Kumar Jha, this time around, why would Kerala be, as Brijesh was saying, they could possibly get 1 seat or 2 seats even, or more than that, open their account?
See, one, of course, is because of the community ratios in Kerala.
Yes.
You have Christians, Muslims, and Hindus almost sort of equal to each other in a
Right.
way, right? So, as a result, the sort of Hindu vote of Kerala, if there is something called the Hindu vote, is much reduced compared to, let's say, next door,
Right.
whatever, Karnataka or Telangana or other states, even Tamil Nadu. Number one. Number two, I think, if you look at Kerala, Kerala is an outlier in India.
Yes.
1957, they had a communist government
Right.
when the entire state was completely Congress, right?
Right. The world's first democratically elected communist government.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, some of the tallest leaders Communist Party of India came from Kerala. Some of the tallest
Right.
intellectuals that came, the left-wingers,
Yes.
they came from Kerala.
Right.
And extraordinary literacy.
Right.
Excellent, I would say, HDI index.
Yes.
Take all the sort of health indicators, one of the best in the country. In fact,
Right.
almost comparable at one time to Sri Lanka and, Lebanon and some of
Yes.
the other countries. I mean, Amartya Sen has
Right.
written a whole book on that Kerala is, almost like the Southeast Asian
Yes.
model. So even if sometimes when it comes to the growth of capitalism,
Right.
it might lag behind, let's say, Tamil Nadu or even Karnataka. But when it comes to welfare schemes,
Yes.
literacy, Kerala is just very much ahead.
Right.
So Hindutva, I mean, very nicely pointed out by Brijesh that the RSS, it's one of the biggest strong
Yes.
areas of RSS, but somehow it has not
It's not
transformed
translated into a
votes
political,
and seats
into
for
votes
the
and
BJP.
seats. But what are the big issues in Kerala this time around, Brijesh? Apart from the fact that you have the BJP trying to break in, it's also a bastion for the Congress, which did very well in 2019. Because I think a lot of people from Kerala, I mean, this is the sense that I got, was that they thought the Congress was coming back to power and they wanted to give them the best possible mandate. The numbers kind of show that. But this time around, how is the CPM and Congress fight going to play out?
See, I think, if you ask me, I think it is going to be a repeat of 2019. I think the Congress is going to do very well. Because,
Right.
I mean, of course, as you pointed out, human element conflict is there,
Yes.
Citizenship Amendment Act is there,
Yes.
which directly inflicts one particular community.
Right.
And in turn, they also look at the fact that which party has a chance of being the top shot party when it comes to a national coalition formation.
Right.
And that party is obviously Congress party. And electoral bonds, I don't think that is going to be that big an issue.
Right.
Because it was a dynamite which was handed over to the opposition party, but I think they just failed to detonate it and
Right.
let go of the opportunity. So I think if you ask me, I think Kerala is going to be what happened in 2019, give or take a couple of seats maximum.
Give or take a couple of seats. Kerala is going to be a repeat of 2019. And from Kerala, we move eastwards to Tamil Nadu. And the battle for Tamil Nadu is not just political, but it's also cultural. Remember the Sengol that was installed in the new parliament. It shows the significance that the Modi government has attached to Tamil Nadu. And in 2019, the BJP, of course, failed to send any representative to the parliament from Tamil Nadu. The DMK was the #1 party. It sent 23 MPs to the Lok Sabha. Its alliance party, the Congress, got 8 seats. The two parties together got 31 out of 39 seats. The left, of course, got 4 seats, and the other two minor parties got 1 seat each, and the BJP drew a blank. The question we're asking in Tamil Nadu is, can Prime Minister Modi breach Stalin's citadel? Brijesh, as we speak, Prime Minister Modi is in Kanyakumari in the south, sending out a message, a silent message to all the voters after electioneering is over. How important is Tamil Nadu for the BJP?
Oh, it's very important, very, very important. And you know, how important it is can be gauged from the fact that, you know, initially many in BJP thought that, you know, we should have an alliance with AIADMK.
Yes.
And, you know, go the safer way. And, you know, we might end up chances of not only opening an account, but to piggyback on AIADMK's organizational strength, which is there, and get a decent, sizable presence. The Prime Minister chose otherwise. You know, they found Annamalai, which was generating a lot of crowd, which is generating a lot of chatter. And it somehow, you know, what Annamalai told, you know, people in Delhi is that, you know, if you go with AIADMK, basically we'll be carrying their baggage. You know, corruption, nepotism, and so on and so forth. So let's fight alone. And the kind of backing Annamalai got, I mean, if you remember, you know, in the when the first phase of election campaigning ended, I think the Prime Minister had made the maximum number of tour to the state of Tamil Nadu rather than any others, even more than to what he made to the state of Uttar Pradesh. So BJP feels that, you know, going without any kind of baggage is something which will help them, and they, like, this time, you know, they walk the talk as far as betting on their main guy. Because if you remember, you know, the AIADMK was upset with Annamalai. They got a meeting with Amit Shah, and it was very clear that pictures showed that, you know, Annamalai was sitting bang opposite the top AIADMK leader. So the messaging was very clear. So this time they've tried their real best to break the bastion and, you know, get a couple of seats. Annamalai seat looks like that there could be some sort of surprise. But you know, I mean, honestly speaking, in Tamil Nadu, we can't be sure to say that the BJP will be open there.
Yeah, we can't be sure indeed. And Ajit Kumar Jha, you know, the BJP's got its first leader in Tamil Nadu, possibly ever. It's never had a leader who's as charismatic as Annamalai, at least the way he speaks and the crowds that he's attracting. This gamble that the BJP has taken, that Brijesh mentioned, to stay away from the AIADMK and fight it alone, how is that going to play out on the 4th of June? You think they'll be rewarded, or?
I think it will be it's an excellent strategy. And what it will get the BJP is massive percentage vote. Because they are contesting almost 29 out of those 39 seats. When you contest in 29 seats, and given the fact that their aim is from 3.7 to 25%, they may not get 25, they may end up more with double digits. But the point is, it's almost like Bengal. Even in terms of seats, if you see, if the increase may not come across, because Tamil Nadu is very different with two regional parties being the largest players. But in terms of percentage vote, secondly, in 2009, if you remember, 2019, if you remember, Sandeep, when Prime Minister would go to Tamil Nadu for campaign, there would be Wapis Jao kind of slogan. Look at this time. I mean, when he went to Coimbatore, when he went to Kanyakumari, other places, I mean, people were telling him, don't talk about Sanatan Dharma, talk about development. I mean, there was, you know, a lot of acceptance. So this is, when you have a sort of entry barrier, the BJP will break the entry barrier for the first time, and this will have an impact on Tamil Nadu Assembly election, next Lok Sabha election.
In 2026 and in 2029. So they're playing the long game. Absolutely. They're playing the long game, and they're possibly looking at cannibalizing the AIADMK, which is a party in decline. And so that's the strategy that, as both of you mentioned, is to target 2026, the assembly elections, and of course the 2029 Lok Sabha elections.
And they have Palaniswamy with them. I mean, they are supporting him, even though he's fighting independently, but they are supporting him. So they have some other local leaders as well.
There's hope for the BJP, it seems, in Tamil Nadu. It may not draw in double digits, but as Ajit Kumar Jha mentioned, that they're trying for the vote share and they're playing the long game, as Brijesh mentioned. But from Tamil Nadu, we move on to the north, to Andhra Pradesh. where the BJP has tied up with veteran regional heavyweight Chandrababu Naidu. On paper, it looks like a formidable team to take on Chief Minister Jagan Reddy's YSRCP. Now, in 2019, YSRCP was a clear winner in the state. It won 22 out of 25 seats, and the TDP got just 3 seats. The question we're asking is, can Naidu and Modi stop the Juggernaut? Brijesh, the Juggernaut, YSRCP at the peak of its power and influence and popularity. Chandrababu Naidu is someone who's been with the NDA, he famously left them, now he's back again. Can he make a dent into the YSRCP's numbers?
I think, he's the only one who can make dent into YSRCP's number. BJP is riding on his popularity, his infrastructure which is there. I mean, the party infrastructure which is there on the ground.
The TDP.
And BJP, the TDP. And the BJP is not that much of a player. I mean, in Tamil Nadu, at least they had a leader like, Annamalai. And they, the big thing is not getting a leader. The big thing is whether the central leadership is that much invested in that particular
in the local leadership.
In the local leadership or not. Something which they tried to do in Telangana. So in Andhra Pradesh, I think, it is the TDP all the way, the BJP is trying their level best, and I think this particular coalition will help BJP. They might get couple of seats, and they might be part of a larger coalition which will help if they get the requisite number of seats and also able to dent in the assembly elections as well. Then it will help you expand your horizon as far as the state is concerned. But on its own, I don't see BJP being any kind of a player as far as Andhra politics is concerned.
BJP is not a player now, Ajit K Jha, but possibly, as Brijesh mentioned, they're piggybacking on Chandrababu Naidu and the TDP. And what do these numbers show you from 2019? This is possibly what drove the BJP to tie up with the TDP. The YSRCP, of course, has got 49%, almost half the vote share. The TDP is number 2, a close number 2 at 40%, and you have the BJP with just 1% of the vote. What would be the BJP strategy here? Because it looks like it's a citadel, it's a juggernaut as we called it, it's a YSRCP fortress. What would be Amit Shah's calculations to tie up with the TDP in Andhra Pradesh?
See, 2 reasons. One, of course, the YSRCP is basically, if you remember, it's a regional party which came out of the Congress party, right? So its ideology is more left. It's very popular in the rural areas of Andhra Pradesh. Whereas if you look at TDP and Mr. Naidu, he is in a way modern India Swatantra party, right? His logic, his rhetoric, totally free marketeer. So I think the BJP, there is an appeal in the urban areas. People believe that he can transform the state. So the BJP kind of climbed on to him. And because he was arrested by YSRCP. So he had a survival problem like like our Delhi Chief Minister, right? So he was in a crisis. So he jumped onto this wagon. Although, if you remember in the past, he was hardcore anti-BJP. In fact, at one time, people thought he might be the leader of the India Alliance, the way he was pitching himself. But then he kind of switched gear, especially after he got arrested. And then the BJP is exactly, I think Brijesh is right, the BJP is trying to climb on him like they did with Nitish Kumar in Bihar and ended up becoming the second largest party.
And the AIDMK in Tamil Nadu in 2019.
That's right. So I think that's the idea. And because their ideologies are similar in many ways, BJP also has an urban, whatever penetration it will happen in the urban areas. So I think there is a consonance there. I mean, the two parties might end up beating the YSRCP, although YSRCP has a massive rural presence. There's welfare schemes in the rural areas are wonderful, but somehow the weakness, his weakness is he hasn't been able to bring out big schemes in the urban areas, hasn't been able to handle the massive unemployment in the state. And the other big problem has been the capital city.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask Brijesh about that. Brijesh, this is probably the first election. There is a state election there as well. And this is an election that could actually determine the fate of the capital of Andhra Pradesh. I mean, we've done a story, a very good story, one of our colleagues called Capital Confusion, where Andhra has no capital. It's, its rent on Hyderabad expires in a few days. on the 2nd of June. And whichever party comes to power actually determines which capital Andhra will get. Will it be this Amravati, which is what the Chandrababu Naidu wants, or will it be Visakhapatnam or the other capitals?
Well, it looks like it's going to be Amravati only, but what I would say is that, this particular election will determine several things in one way. This election is also about the acceptance of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The reason why I say this is that, many stalwarts, not only Chandrababu Naidu, Nitish Kumar also, they had a big time problem in digesting the fact that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has come and he has come to stay. And that is the reason why, they're not used to dealing with him the way they were used to deal with a plummeted BJP. BJP was dependent on their crutches to carry along. Now the BJP doesn't need them. That is the reason why if you remember, the famous 2014 dinner fiasco with Nitish Kumar, and then the problem with Chandrababu Naidu and all. I think Chandrababu Naidu also realized very clearly that he needs BJP more right now than the BJP needs him. With no presence in Andhra is not going to kill BJP, but it is definitely going to dent or not help Chandrababu Naidu not to have a strong center backing him, irrespective of whether he is a government in the state or not. And that is this cold calculation, I think, has helped smoothen ties between him and BJP, and of course, Pawan Kalyan cinematic presence as well. So they are hoping that, this three combo will make sure that, the BJP's polarizing capacity, to do this, that, how these minorities are voting one side and how we have to do the counter consolidation. Chandrababu Naidu as the face of this thing, and Pawan Kalyan being the cinematic attraction, the pull as far as the Andhra Pradesh is concerned.
There's no politics in Andhra Pradesh without cinema.
Is the Congress party. The Congress party is almost decimated in Andhra Pradesh. I mean, remember, the Congress party in 2004, 2009 almost was the party of Andhra Pradesh.
Why that's the YS Reddy?
The death of YS Reddy, Kiran Reddy, I mean, when he was the chief minister, and right now he's with the BJP.
I mean, you've had Andhra prime ministers in this country. I mean, Narasimha Rao, and I think what has happened is this creation of Telangana. It's had kind of changed the entire equation.
In fact, that's where we're heading. We're heading into Telangana now. We just talk about this, one of the India's newest states, Telangana, where the BJP is facing the Congress, a revived Congress party, Revanth Reddy. And the question, of course, we're asking is if Telangana is ready for Modi. Brijesh, your take, is the Congress giving BJP a tough fight in Telangana?
Well, the Congress is really giving BJP a tough fight, and I think, this time it's not going to be that easy a walkover as many are predicting, because, the Congress is on the upsurge. I think, the election it will be wrong to compare the Assembly versus Lok Sabha, and, the Prime Minister has more of a say as far as the Lok Sabha elections are concerned. But I think, this particular idea is more applicable in North than in South. And I don't consider Karnataka to be part of South, because it has always behaved differently, at least electorally. It's an outlier in the South. It's the outlier in the South. So I'm saying that, in Telangana also, the Congress, there is a good Congress revival, and the fact is that the Congress has, built up infrastructure, the kind of schemes they have said, and there's not a big, in fighting within the party as well. The BJP may have a problem of plenty, because G. Kishan Reddy, Bandi Sanjay, earlier was touted as the face of the BJP, but unceremoniously dumped, nobody knows why. And then, the couple of others who fancy themselves as having a shot at the power, but they're not getting their own game. So I think that is also a bit of a problem which BJP face, and will be excellent. I mean, I don't see BRS getting 9 come what may, and I think Congress per se, if you ask me, would be the largest party in 2024 as far as election is concerned.
Ajit Kumar Jha, break these numbers down for us. This is 2019. The vote shares are very interesting. The BRS was the monolith, 41%. And he's the founder of the KCR is the man who actually created the state of Telangana, and he was rewarded for 2 successive consecutive elections, and he gets 41% of the vote share. The BJP at 19 and the Congress at 29. Most people had written the Congress off.
The difference between the Congress and the BJP in 2019 is only 10% vote. The BJP ends up getting 1 seat extra, 4 by 3.
Yes.
My contention is opposite of what Brijesh said.
Right.
What I feel is that the BRS is going to totally collapse in the
Collapse.
Lok Sabha.
That 41% is up for grabs.
Up for grabs. And I
Right.
think that's where the BJP is going to make its killing.
Right.
It's going to expand in a major way in the Lok Sabha.
Yes.
Maybe not in the Bidhan Sabha
Right.
in the future, but in the Lok Sabha. And why the BJP is doing better than the Congress there, even though the Congress had a higher percentage vote,
Right.
because they are concentrating in certain areas,
Right.
north of Telangana.
Yes.
The BJP is campaigning like crazy.
Right.
They know exactly that strike rate is very high.
Right.
And I have a feeling even with a lower percentage vote, even if they end up grabbing, let's say, half that percentage vote of BRS,
Yes.
they will end up getting more seats.
They'll
In
end up
fact, the
getting- yes.
strategy to penetrate the south,
Right.
they basically want to repeat Karnataka
Right.
in terms of seats,
Yes.
and they want to penetrate Telangana.
Right.
Andhra, they don't have much presence.
Right.
Kerala, they don't have much presence. Tamil Nadu, maybe a couple of seats.
Right.
So their big killing they are aiming for
Right.
is Telangana.
Is Telangana, BRS, but K. Chandrasekhar Rao, Brijesh, I mean, one time unstoppable, literally the creator, founder of Telangana, and today he seemed to have lost his way. And do you think he's going the way of the AIDMK, as Ajit mentioned, that if his party is going to be cannibalized, it's rapidly declined since it lost the elections last year?
Sandeep, I went there because the BJP did their, national executive in Hyderabad. So I had a chance to talk to many of the BJP leaders and also, 2-3 BRS leaders in the sense to understand what is going on. We did a story called Southern Surge of the BJP.
Right.
See, the fact is that when you talk to the member of parliament, so to the the MLAs of this thing, I think somehow KCR, who otherwise had a knack for seeing what was there in the ground, missed the writing on the wall.
Right.
With the way he was going, the way he was eating into Congress, he was on a mission completely eat up all the opposition space. But Congress was not that bad. If you take the last assembly election number also, majority of their MLAs were taken in by the BRS, and left, right, and center, and the Congress was able to pull up a narrative which was also bolstered by their victory in Karnataka.
Right.
So post the victory in Karnataka, they immediately went up gungo, and right now the current chief minister is also having a very a pro Congress way as far as the state of Telangana is concerned. So that is the reason why, and Revant Reddy, and the BRS looks like, when K Kavita was arrested. K Kavita is daughter of BRS. If you compare that with either Sharad Pawar before that election, where standing in that iconic picture when ED summoned
in the
him,
rain,
and in the rain, or look at at Arvind Kejriwal, his party is nothing compared to the kind of might BRS and other parties are. They're fighting every single day as if there is no tomorrow, and they are actually in a position to take on, which is a mirage. But the way BRS abandoned K Kavita, never kind of bolstered that kind of support either here or back there in Telangana. It looked like as if the sand was slipping out of their hold, and they were not able to stop anything.
They're not able to stop. And Ajit, I want to add to what Brijesh said. Looking at the South, from our discussion, it appears that two of the biggest regional parties are in grave danger: the AIADMK and the BRS, and of course the JDS in Karnataka. You think that we are returning to the era of two competing national parties, especially in the South, the Congress versus the BJP?
I think the national parties are making increasing gains in the South. Last time we saw in the entire South, 130, they had 29, 29. We'll probably see more higher numbers in the national parties, whereas the regional parties will be reduced. I think one reason the decline of Rao is that his ambitions shifted. He did not want to only remain a chief minister. He wanted to become a national leader, independent, the third front. Remember Nitish Kumar trying to bring him into the India Alliance, bringing him to Patna.
Absolutely.
He went to Hyderabad. But he thought he's above both Congress and the BJP. I was in Hyderabad almost for 10 days, and I moved around, and I realized that his feedback mechanism is over. His son was running the state, and he was only dreaming about
a national role.
That is why I said that he missed the writing on the wall.
He missed the writing on the wall. That's all we have in this edition of Final Countdown. Do tune in at 9 p.m. tomorrow for our next edition. Thanks for watching.